Generations forms part of Action Transport Theatre's participation programme of work, and as such it takes up quite a lot more resources, especially staff time, than our professional work, which has kind of less staff but more professionals working on it. So as a bit of an example of what Generations has taken in terms of resources to actually achieve, we've got 29 cast members, 2 choreographers, 4 musicians, 18 volunteers, 45 costumes, 8 songs, 3 walking sticks, a throne, 400 programmes, 185 hours of rehearsals, and absolutely thousands of cups of tea to get Generations on as a performance. I think Generations is quite a rare project for Ellesmere Port, and certainly for the Ellesmere Port community. There's plenty of amateur dramatic organisations for older people, and there are youth theatres for younger people, but I think as a project that brings those 2 generations together, this is probably unique in Ellesmere Port. And for the company, it's also the first time we've done an intergenerational project, and I think we did that because we just saw that there was an interest and a value in bringing generations together to work on a new piece of theatre together that actually is inspired by those participants. So I think the value to the local community is probably quite huge, and I think we'll see that with the new audiences that it brings into the company, and also the amount of people taking interest in the project locally and seeing the value that it has for those participants who maybe have never taken part in theatre before. For Action Transport Theatre, it's really important for us to connect with our local community, because we're often on the road touring, whether that's nationally or regionally or around schools. We're not always that visible to the local community, so it's our participation projects that enable us to really reach out to the local community, for them to have the opportunity to take part, but also the opportunity to come along and see work that has been made by local people. So for us, Generations, especially because we're working in the Civic Hall this time and not in our own smaller studio theatre, it's really important for us because it's enabling a lot more people to kind of come and see the work, and take part as well, which is fantastic for us as a company. Generations for us is definitely going to bring in new audiences, partly because we've got new participants that haven't worked with us before, so obviously that brings in their families and friends. But also I think it will bring in new audiences because we've pushed the project wider this time. We've advertised it more widely because we are able to bring in bigger audience numbers to this space in the Civic Hall than we are in our smaller studio theatre, so we have pushed it wider, and I think because people see it as an Ellesmere Port project and it's sort of branded as such, then I think it will bring in more people from the community that perhaps haven't been to see an Action Transport Theatre production before. Other ways that the project is kind of new for us, but it's not so much new, it's more that it's a development of previous projects, is I think we've got a lot more volunteers working on this project than we perhaps ever had before, and that's partly built from previous projects and partly because we've looked for more volunteers, and that's been fantastic, and we've just found some really good people that I think will continue with the company for future projects as well, which is great, and again helps to build that connection with the local community. And certainly we're seeing more people coming to us now because they've seen publicity or they've seen that it's on, and they just want to know what it is and get involved really. So I think we've got a lot of ticket sales this time, and I think we'll see quite a lot of walk-ins on the night, which is quite exciting. So
the music should be the obedient servant of the drama. So people have said to me in the show, how do you approach it in the sense of the generations of the people, the different types of music that they listen to? I just completely ignore that, and all the ideas, the musical ideas that I get are driven by the characters. For instance, the first time I seen the Jester character, I was thinking of, is it Archie Rice in The Entertainer? You know, that old vaudeville sort of stock character, and that's where that tune come from. It's like it's driven by that old sort of vaudeville music hall tone. And for some reason, the Shirley song, different numbers in the pieces were, I went American country because that reminded me of like the Eagles type sound and things like that. So basically, all of the music's driven by the characters. There'd be no point to doing anything else, you know, doing a genre of music because it's so full, this piece, of different characters. and different styles of people, and it's very stylized as well. The most difficult thing I think has been the overture. I mean, it's not even a concept thing. It was just when Nina came up. I think maybe that's just because of a little bit when she came up with, I know we'll have an overture, you know, and linking those numbers together because they're so different. I mean, there are modern tunes, there are daft sort of vaudeville, honky-tonk type tunes. I found that quite difficult. Just the discipline of doing that and linking those tunes in the right keys and the right time signatures together. So that was a bit of a nightmare, really. What I love about the story is just a girl has nothing. A girl who has nothing. She can't read. Without reading, you can't have that. And the idea that even though that there's an old person in the story, even though she's treated harshly, and even though she's treated aggressively and nastily, that the old person then says, it's a shocking moment where she says, I'll teach you to read. And it was at that moment, you know, I just fell in love with the piece, that she was going to teach the kid to read, to have everything, you know what I mean? So she can have Shakespeare, she can have Byron, she can have Shelley. You know, and how could she possibly have had Beethoven and Mozart without learning those disciplines of reading? So we've got a great story. You know, she has nothing, and at the end of the story, she has everything. I think it's a massive challenge to get the balance absolutely right between what people can do and your expectations of them, and then being sort of continuously surprised when you write. I'm not saying, you know, anything's been written down in this piece, but what you tend to do is say, okay, I'll stick to this vocal range because that's a safe range, and then you find out you've actually got people who, when they really let go, can do it. Extending that and continuously changing. So I think what you probably do is you enter into it with an idea of let's play it quite safe, and then you just start pushing the boundaries as far as you can, and it's quite surprising how far you can go. It just needs the belief on the other side as well, you know, for me then to push it more and more.